wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one down. Damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hey guys, I'm back, and in the midst of recording these two videos, I found out something very something I thought that I didn't have before, which is something that shows me if people turn notifications on or not. Call me dumb or not about not knowing that this existed or anything, but yeah. You guys just need to turn notifications on real quick for me. I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds, so please do that right now. Alright, whether you did or did not do that, it doesn't really matter. I'm joking. It does matter. Please turn notifications on and know whenever these are going to come out. Yeah, let's actually get into the what if. Okay, last time we left off, Asta had gained a new weapon that he found in the Grimoire ceremony, and he just found out that it was a 5-leaf clover Grimoire, and so did everybody else. And it was made just for his cursed sword. He now knew it was called the Demon Dweller Sword, and after this, him and Yuno went on separate paths to achieve their dream of becoming Wizard King. Asta went to the Black Bulls and was forced to show his abilities against this elder named Magna, who told him that he was amazing after Asta completely wrecked him, and Asta felt happy to be in a crew like theirs, and he got a sick bandana, so yeah. Soon Asta was shown around the hideout of the Black Bulls until he saw a girl who aspired to be a swordsman like him. Not that she really had the body for it, but she had something else to add on, which was a bad attitude, and she always kept to herself as soon as she arrived and didn't want to do any of the chores. Asta met her again later, and their second encounter, I guess you could say, was ruined. Now we're actually getting back to the story. Noelle was generating a lot of mana. She's thinking, I'm so useless. I can't do anything. Even these people won't accept me. Asta is just outside of the water ball that she's forming, saying, she's amazing. Asta is staring at a huge ball of water, which was created by Noelle herself, but she didn't seem to be in control. Asta was saying, I was just trying to say hi, and this happens? What the hell? The other Black Bulls feel a bunch of mana outside and went out to see what happened. When they get outside, they're shocked. Magna says, if we let this go on, yeah, this is gonna be ugly. Lupton says, yeah, but that's a lot of mana. Wow. Yami then says, yo, Asta, can you take care of that? Asta looks at him surprised, but then smiles as he brings out his Demon Dweller sword. Yami then says, cool, just let. Before he could throw him or try to throw him, he sees all his muscles tense up as Asta jumps into the air, only using his abnormal strength. Fernald then says, what the hell is up with that kid? Asta gets close to her raging water ball and raises his sword. Flying Phoenix. Armament slash. He puts armament hockey into the sword, making it shine blood red as he slashes it down, and in a moment, the water ball bursts. Asta then starts to fall along with Noelle. He's sure he'll be fine, but he can't grab Noelle, and she's definitely gonna get hurt if she falls from this height. All of a sudden, a portal opens below him and her, and they instantly appear on the ground. Asta then says, phew, she's okay. Thank God for spatula magic. Yami then says, damn kid, nicely done. Seriously, what kind of training have you been doing your entire life? Asta would scratch his head in embarrassment of receiving such a compliment until he hears Noelle coughing and turns around. Hey you. Noelle looks up in fear of what might happen next, but she's surprised when Asta says this. That was some awesome magic. I wish I had that much power. Why would you even try to be a swordsman? Magna says it's probably because she can't control her magic. Well, you should have just said so. We're all misfits here. We could care less about that stuff. Asta then says, besides, if you drain that power, you'll be unstoppable. Everyone agrees, which causes Noelle to start crying. And Asta says, now come on, let's start all over again. I'm Asta. Welcome to the Black Bulls. He smiles at her and she grabs his hand and stands up as she introduces herself properly to the group this time. Now, the next day would come as the crew is just laying around, but Asta is outside training his usual routine. Everyone peeks outside and sees him squatting a huge boulder he just found out of nowhere in the woods. Noelle then says, that guy never stops training, does he? Luck would then say, yeah, I really want to fight him. Then they see Charmy walk out of the house and give him some food, and he accepts it and lets the boulder fall off his back. Asta says, "Thanks for the meat." Charmy would then say, "Do you do this all the time?" Asta says, "Yeah, it relaxes me, keeps my senses heightened, high on edge, so I never get hit." Charmy is amazed to hear that he's trying so hard and thinks that this kid is going to be awesome when he grows up. Seeing how hard Asta was working also made Magnum want to train as well, and Luck, so they joined in. But as they tried to, Yami arrives saying that they have a mission. Yami then says, "You can train later, I have a mission for you rookies." Noelle then says, "What do you have to do?" Yami says, "Well, I lost a bet when I was in town, and I need you guys to go hunt some boars." Asta says, "That sounds like you want us to clean up your mess." Yami says, "Exactly." And Noelle says, "Don't say that so proudly." Yami then says, "So what, you're not gonna do it?" He keeps staring them down with the death glare until they finally agree. And now when they're on their way, Noelle says, "Are you sure I should be going with you? There's a reason I try to become a swordsman, you know." Magna says, "Well, you need to go on missions, and eventually you'll get used to it, and your magic will improve. Would you rather stay weak?" Noelle realizes that she can't do that, and shows a look of determination. Asta then says, "By the way, how are we getting to Sashi Village? I can't ride a broom, and neither can Noelle." Magna then says, "How can you fail something so basic?" Asta says, "I can't use magic. She can't control her magic." Soon they reach a conclusion, and Magna carries everyone on his crazy cyclone. Noelle hates and hopes that they land soon, but they can all agree on one thing: the scenery is beautiful. Soon they do land and start hunting, but before they do, Asta decides to teach Noelle something. Asta says, "Since you still have your sword, I want to show you something. And you don't even need to control your magic." Noelle then says, "Really? What is it?" Asta says, "You just need to flow your magic out and imagine it wrapping around your sword. As for me, I don't really need to use magic. That's why I train my physical strength. Also, I don't have a choice. I don't have magic." Just as he says this, a boar starts hunting, just running at them, like hunting for their like. You know how like animals in anime, these niggas look like demons. I don't know why. And yeah, it's rushing at them, but he uses a crescent slash, and since he couldn't hold back enough, it was completely cut in half horizontally, making its blood splatter everywhere and impressing Noelle even more. And Magna says, "Geez, that attack could have killed me. How much did you hold back during our fight?" Asta scratches his head nervously, trying to find a way to not reveal his abilities to Magna, but Magna just keeps pressuring him to tell him while they're trying to fight the boars the whole time. Eventually, he did tell him about the fact that he had a master who trained him since he was like a freaking toddler, and it shocked Magna that this kid loves fighting that much that he did it as a child. Seriously, I said Asta was 6 when he started hunting animals. Why did I do that? Magna then says, "You're exactly like Captain Yami." Asta says, "Is that good or bad?" Magna says nothing and starts to think about it, and Asta says, "You know, the fact that you have to think about it, automatic." Asta then stops talking and turns around with haste. At first, Magna and Noelle were confused about what he was doing until they felt a lot of magic. Noelle says, "Can you sense magic?" Asta says, "I don't have magic, so I can't sense it, but I can feel bloodlust and malicious intent. The people in that village are about to die." We skip to them finding the village covered with mist, and Asta cuts through it immediately and rushes in at full speed. We go to Heath's perspective. Finally, we can kill these insects. Then all of a sudden, he's surprised because just as he tries to kill the others and the icicles start to fall, they're blown to bits, and in front of the villagers are 3 kids. Asta says, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" The villagers start to cheer since the magic knights had come to rescue them. Then the 3 hear a kid crying and turn around to see a man was already killed. They were too late. As soon as Asta sees this, he takes out his sword and starts walking towards Heath. Heath says, "Stop interrupting the schedule." He lets his grimoire float and raises his hand as a huge chunk of ice comes out aiming for everyone. Noelle's thinking, he won't be fast enough. But she's surprised when Asta not only stops the attack, but does it only using his right hand, which is oozing a strange energy. Then Asta cuts the ice in half and rushes in, but gets caught in illusion magic. The henchman then says, "How dare you? Do you really think you can get close to Master Heath? Get lost." Asta then cuts through the magic and heads for the guy who tried to trap him and slams him to the ground by grabbing his face. He then death stares Heath and says, "You're next." He starts to sweat but keeps his composure and backs away as the other henchmen rush at Asta to try and finish him off. Asta is thinking that his sword is wasted on these guys and sheathes it instead of putting it in his grimoire, and he starts using armament hockey on his fists. While he's doing this, Magna keeps blowing up the attacks coming at him from Heath and trying to protect everyone. He's thinking, that guy hasn't shown his full power, and he's so relentless with his magic. Then he yells out loud, "I'll protect all of you, don't worry." Heath then says, "Then let's see how long you can last." Asta is almost done taking care of the other henchmen, but while he's doing this, Noelle is trying to do what Asta taught her with her sword. She pours in magic and launches it at Heath, but she misses anyway. Even the advice that Asta gave her was not enough. If anything, it was harder for her. She's getting frustrated. She's being protected by her teammates, but she's supposed to be helping as well. Then all of a sudden, she feels a tug on her dress and sees a little girl. "Miss Magic Knight, please save us. If your friends are that strong, you can't be weak, right?" Hearing this makes her heart start to race. She sees the kids crying, a man is killed, and the look of despair in the villagers' eyes are just so freaking obvious. These people know they are about to die, and the only ones who can stop that is them, but she can't do anything. Noelle is just yelling out, "What do I do? What do I do?" Asta says, "It's obvious what you have to do. Protect them." Noelle turns around. Asta continues to talk. "Noelle, your strength lies in magic, not swordsmanship. But that's fine. You don't need a sword to be strong. You're already strong." Hearing this lifts her spirits, and Noelle says, "I can't believe I ever hesitated. A little girl is asking for my help. My teammates need me. There's no way in hell I can run away." She starts to gather up magic as her grimoire shines, and she does it. She creates the sea dragon's lair. Noelle then drops her sword and states that no matter what happens, she can protect everyone all on her own. This means that Magna can finally move, and so he does, and he starts rushing past Heath's attacks, actually goes for him. Heath is thinking, "My attacks aren't piercing her barrier? All my men are down. What the hell? Damn it, I thought you were supposed to be useless brats." He starts using wide-range magic and pops out icicles from the ground. This catches Magna off guard a bit, but he uses this to his advantage, and he jumps off a spike to prepare for his final attack in the air. "I made this to beat Asta, but I guess you'll do." He shoots a way more explosive and faster version of his scattershot attack, and I mean like by way more. Obviously this drains his magic, but it is a little bit effective. And he falls and gets caught by Noelle, who says, "So lame." Magna then says, "Shut up. I did my job, didn't I?" Just as she catches Magna, Heath is barely freezing the attacks and actually got hit by a few. It didn't do much damage to him physically, but it did hurt his pride a little bit. He says, "Stop resisting. You've lost." Just as he says this, Asta appears behind him, unsheathing his sword. "Don't you dare forget about me." He swings down while coating his sword in armament hockey and appears in front of Heath, who then spits out a lot of blood, and then all of a sudden he gets cuts all over. A huge wound opens up in his chest and it bursts open, and a bunch more other cuts just happen all over his body. His clothes get torn. He falls to the ground like a lifeless doll, with pretty much the only thing he's seeing is the guy who almost killed him, and that guy was a child. That's pretty sad. Asta then says, "You don't have the right to take other people's lives when you're this weak." He then swings his sword to get the blood off and says, "You guys okay?" Magna says, "I'm good." Noelle says, "Of course I am." The villagers then start cheering all of a sudden, surprising the group, and this makes Noelle lose concentration and the sea dragon's lair bursts. This causes everyone to laugh, and then Magna gets up seriously saying that they should interrogate those three people. Assuming Asta didn't already kill them, murder them, they're dead. Asta says, "Nah, I hurt them a lot, but they're still okay." What the? We then cut to Yami's perspective, and Yami says, "So that's what happened? Geez, seriously? Suicide? They went that far?" Well, you have to focus on the positive. You guys destroyed them, and we earned a star. Hearing this would shock everyone, as it had been years since they got any merit for anything. Then after this, Asta and Noelle would get paid. To Noelle, this much money is basically nothing, but Asta loves that he can make money by kicking other people's asses. And after hearing that they just got paid, Vanessa would decide to take them to the city and then the black market. When they arrive, Asta starts checking things out and is amazed at all the jewelry and like the gold. And then he remembers that bird bringing him that strange stone before they left. And Asta says, "Hey Vanessa, how much would this cost you?" He takes out the stone. She looks at the stone and thinks that it just feels special, but it doesn't look all that, glamorous. It doesn't look that special. Vanessa then says, "It's not bad, but it doesn't really look dazzling compared to the other things here. What do you ask?" Asta says, "Oh, I was thinking of selling it." And just as he says this, Nero comes out of nowhere, pecking him and pecking him nonstop. Asta is trying to run away from this crazy ass bird, and he says, fine, I won't sell it. Jeez, just stop pecking me." Soon, Nero would stop, and this is when Seke would arrive. Seke then says, "Wow, are you sure you're the same guy that beat a kid with the 4-leaf grimoire? Who are you?" Hearing this would annoy Seke as he proceeds to introduce himself, but they don't listen and start talking amongst each other. Seke then thinks, "Damn it, that lucky bastard. I can't even hurt him, and he's surrounded by 2 beauties." Just as this is happening, they hear a scream. It's a scream of an old lady. She had just gotten robbed, and the perpetrator was using wind magic to get away. As soon as he hears this scream, Asta starts running at the guy, with Seke following behind. "This is my time to shine, damn it. Get out of my way," says Seke, trying to take all the credit. By this point, Asta had already caught up with the robber. The robber would then say, "How the hell is he keeping up with me?" Then all of a sudden, his magic cancels out, and Asta had planted a solid punch into his stomach. The momentum built up from him running was so strong that it sent him flying back the opposite way, and Seki would get hit by him. Asta would then say, "Whew, that was a good one. I used perfect form that time." He would then start running back as the old lady would look on amazed at what this kid just did. And Seki would try to get up, but grunts as he does so. Then he would see Asta put a hand out. I don't know you, but thanks for trying to help me. Sorry for embarrassing you. That was an accident, believe it or not." Seki would then be surprised by this gesture and accept his help. Then he would leave, satisfied, as Asta would hand back the stolen goods to the old lady and would leave with his friends, dragging the criminal to jail. And just as they're leaving, the satisfied elder would then start to change and contort to reveal that he is in fact the Wizard King. Julius would then say, "That wasn't even magic, just pure physical strength. He was controlling something. Did he cancel out that person's magic? Interesting." A few days later, a farmer would be going around collecting herbs, just doing his job, when he stumbles upon something amazing in the Clover Kingdom. This would be the discovery of a new dungeon. It would spread like wildfire. The discovery of this dungeon means that magic knights were told to go raid it for the Clover Kingdom. And right now, Asta is walking with Noelle and Luck. We're in the present time. And Asta is a bit on edge due to what Magna had told them before they left. Quick flashback. Magna says, "Look, I love Luck, but he's kind of messed up in the head. I can tell you can't control your emotions that well. Just try not to kill him." Now we go back to present time. Asta is just thinking, this is gonna be awesome. But why did the Wizard King specifically ask for me? Never even met the guy. Well, it doesn't matter. This just means I'm taking a step closer to becoming Wizard King. Asta is stepping into a new and just, completely different place. Inside this dungeon lies something that he also might want, and it rightfully belongs to him. And something that belongs to a certain other person he knows quite too well. We cut to Yuno's perspective. This is so boring. I wish Asta was here. I'm going to leave it off there. I hope you guys enjoyed those 2 what ifs today. It's been a while since I posted twice in a row. Mostly because I couldn't upload at all. YouTube was stopping me. But I hope you like it. As always, give some love to Darking of What Ifs. I designed the Asta a drawing. I did it pretty fast. I'll do it. I'll do better on the next one. Don't worry. But he colored it. You know, I liked it black and white. I'm gonna keep it that way from now on. And yeah, also Head Honors edits. The intro. You know, it was awesome. So go subscribe to his channel. Both links will be down in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please turn on your notifications. I don't want to keep asking that. It feels annoying to have to pander to you to turn on notifications so you can watch my videos. And yeah, I'll leave it off there. Still working on the special. It's gonna be done soon. It is 1 hour, so of course it's gonna take me a long ass time, but it's coming soon. Yeah, be safe. You know, don't do anything stupid. I'm gonna go back to sleeping. Goodbye.